All right, so how many of you have seen or used Powtoon before? Seen it? Seen it? Anybody designing with it for their classes now? No, a little bit? Right. Okay. All right, so when we talk about why multimedia, as I mentioned in the video, it's really part of this language that we're communicating with as we move into the 21st century. So if you have young children at home, you know they're not sitting back and consuming media anymore. They're really creating multimedia. So they're watching not network television, but YouTube videos that other kids created. Or they're making their own music videos with Musical.ly. So it's really this trend that we can't move away from. It's inescapable. So it's important that we as instructors and as educators, we embrace this in our classrooms. And then why Powtoon? Because it's free for members of the Rutgers community. So how many people here are part of Rutgers that you have a net ID? Most, okay. So I'm going to show you how to get in through the Rutgers version, and then if not, if you don't have a net ID, you can still use all the information we're going to talk about. You'll just need to log in through powtoon.com and either use the free version or pay for a subscription. Okay, so let's do a little analysis. When do you think you might use something like Powtoon?
Like an introduction that you just did?
Yeah, an introduction. Yep. Anything else?
Tutorials.
Yeah, tutorials, breaking down like complex topics into a way that's easy to understand. Yep. When would you not use Powtoon?
Some people don't like you to use cartoons when something is really serious.
Yeah.
And they think it trivializes.
Yes, yeah, so it's important that the tone of your Powtoon or your video is going to match the tone of the content. So you don't want to be covering anything, heavy with cartoon animations. Powtoon does have some other templates that you can work with that are more serious and are more business oriented. So you'd need to make sure that you're selecting something that matches that. How about lecture content? Too much? Yeah, too long. So what do you think an ideal length of time would be for something like this? 2, yeah, just a couple of minutes. So we say at the Institute for Families when we design with this, we say between like 2 to 5 minutes is really your sweet spot. Any longer than that, like 7 minutes, I'm done, I'm not doing it, it's too long. So the characters can only do so many motions, and the music can only loop so many times before it starts to get annoying. And the music is about 2 minutes long, that's included here. So, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, well, now it's going to just get really annoying. So we want to walk that fine line between having something that has impact and having people go, okay, like let's, move on now. So, all right, so part of the theme of the conference is collaborate. And Powtoon offers that option for collaboration before you even open up the application. So in front of you, you have a scripting tool. And I also, as I mentioned, I have that on the website also that you could download it and customize it. So this is really useful for having teams of people work together on creating a script. So that's step 1, iron out what you want to say in your Powtoon. Nothing is worse than, yes, hi.
Sorry to interrupt. The hotel staff has asked that a Carby boob is blue MFB83W. MFB83W, if that applies to you. Please move your car, otherwise please ignore this now.
Little commercial break. All right. So we're working as a team to provide feedback on the script so that when we get in there and actually develop our Powtoon, we're not finding out, oh, wait, that script has to totally change. So make sure that as many people as possible are getting their eyeballs on this script and hashing things out, making changes, making suggestions, so that when you go in to design your Powtoon, you have a solid script to work from. On the left-hand side of that sheet, you'll see you have your audio, your visual components. So just some ideas that, what you want this to look like. And on the right-hand column, you have your audio, so what that script is going to be. And there's one field at the top I want to point out. That's the total time when read aloud. So we've gotten some beautiful scripts, but then when we actually read it out loud, it ends up being 15 minutes long. So you want to make sure that when you're working on this or assigning this to students to work on, you say, read it out loud, fill in that field, find out how long this is before you start creating. All right, so then for one of our programs, Grow NJ Kids Training Services, we designed a Powtoon as a learning product, and then we brought in stakeholder feedback to find out what they thought of what we were developing. You can see how the script got manipulated along the way. Just a few words remained as it moved into the next version. But they were able to repurpose it and use it as a marketing piece as well. So that's a tip I would share as you're creating this. Keep it general so you can use it over and over again. So don't welcome spring semester 2018, welcome your class so that you can reuse it. Especially because you're putting so much time and energy into creating this, you want it to be something that lasts. Okay, so now if you are part of the Rutgers community, you can log in through Kaltura. How many people have a Kaltura account? Okay, all right, so I'm going to show you how to do that piece too. So let's get in there and play with Powtoon. Okay, so the website that you need is this rutgers.mediaspace.kaltura.com. If you just Google Rutgers Kaltura, it comes up as one of the first few options. I don't know who this woman is, but she's lovely. She always has tons of videos in the public media, so very interesting topics too. Okay, so to request a Kaltura account, which would be step 1, you need to go to Guest in the upper right-hand corner, and then click Account Request. It'll ask you for some information and your net ID, and it takes about 24 hours to get approval and have your account set up. Sometimes it's even quicker than that. Once you have that account, you can go back into your media, and where it says Guest, you would click Login and log in with that net ID. And then you are in to your own Kaltura account. So you can see in the upper right corner it has my name, so I know that I'm in my account. Now when you want to add a Powtoon, you have to click Add New, and that's where Powtoon lives. Customize a Powtoon template. And again, I have a tutorial for this on that website, so you can follow along it afterwards.
So this is in your account?
Yes. Yeah. This is anybody who as part of Rutgers has a Kaltura account, it's in there automatically.
Anyone? No, what I'm saying is when you create a Powtoon, only you can see it, not like the whole world. Yes. Good question. So yes, you can change the settings on it. You can make it public, you can make it private, you can make it so other people could see it, but only if you share the link with them. So you have those security settings.
But it takes your net ID.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so now you can see I've got Powtoon within the Kaltura page, within the space. So this top portion will always be branded Rutgers TLT, will always be at the top, and Powtoon is what's living within it. All right, so, reset that. Okay, so if I click Start Now, it's going to take me down to the templates that are available to us. And Rutgers has this amazing subscription. We've got everything. We have the pro version, the business version. Everything that Powtoon offers is available to us in here. If you're working on the public Powtoon.com site, it's about $19 for the free version. And then the prices go up from there. So you can see there's some that are business-oriented, some that are very cartoony. There's even some down at the bottom here for holidays. I actually have a colleague who used it to create an announcement for her children, letting them know what their Christmas gift was. So you can get really creative. And once you learn how to do this, you're going to want to make a Powtoon for everything. So. All right, so I'm going to click on, I will point out there's also an option to start from scratch over here. I don't recommend doing that. I've been using Powtoon for 2 years now, and I don't start from scratch. I start from a template and then customize it from there. There's just too much to have to build. You're better off starting with something that has the look and feel that you're going for, and then customize from there. So I'm going to click on this 5 tips one. This is one that I use pretty frequently. It's a clean layout. So. And as long as technology cooperates, we should be in business. Okay. All right, so you'll see that it's loading. It'll ask you to enable Flash. Oh. Why are you doing this? Hang on. Let's try again. Okay. All right, so I'm going to zoom out so that you can see everything here. So you'll see you have, once you're in, you have a few different of these scroll bars. So you're going to have to play with them to get your view set. So like I just did, I had to zoom out. You might have to play with that a little bit so that you can see your whole canvas and all the options that are available to you. Okay, so to point out the main features here, on your left-hand column here, we have your slide sorter. So this is just like using PowerPoint. So these are all the different components of your presentation. In the center, you have your canvas, that's the project that you're working on. And in the right-hand side, you have all the different features that you can customize. So there's layouts, background, text, characters, objects. You've got sound and images down here that you can add. So those are all the different pieces you can customize. And along the top bar, you see you have your save button, which is your best friend, because if this freezes on you and closes out, you lose everything you were working on. So every time I make a move in Powtoon, I'm clicking save. So, oh, I'm going to add a character, save. Oh, I'm going to change this, save. Then you have your undo button. That is your second best friend, because with Powtoon, you have to play and experiment. So you got to throw the character in, see what they look like. If they look terrible, you undo and you take them out. And then on the right-hand side, I have this little preview button that lets me see what a preview of my presentation, and then export. So when you're finished designing and everything looks exactly how you want it, you click export, and that'll take it out and put it into your Kaltura account where it'll live on, that you could download it as an MP4. Okay, so we're just going to go through a couple of slides here. And customize. So if everything looks good to you and you like it the way it is, it's simple to just tweak the text that's in here. So I'm just going to type, Powtoon. Okay, and I'm going to change this. Make it say, are you online con? Okay, so now you see this play button on the bottom left-hand corner? That's if I want to play the whole presentation through. But if I just want to watch this slide, which you'll want to do more often, I'm going to click that little play button next to it that's within the slide, and let's see what we've got. All right, see? Nice and easy. So that's our first slide. So now I want to add an object to this, though, right? I want to jazz it up a little bit. So the first thing I need to do is turn on my timeline. Now, a lot of people get freaked out about the timeline, but we're gonna learn how to use it, and it won't be scary anymore. So turn on that timeline. And I want to point out, too, a lot of the multimedia platforms that are out there work this exact same way. So if you can navigate one, you can navigate any of them. So, okay, so I've turned on the timeline, and now I'm allowed to customize these things on the right-hand column. So on the timeline, you have a little marker. This little guy slides back and forth, and those seconds at the top tell you when everything comes in. So you see 1 second, my banner flew in. When I drag it down to 2 seconds, now my subtitle flew in. So back and forth, you can slide to view your presentation. If you want to extend your presentation, so I want to add another second onto this, this little plus sign down at the end will add a second for you, or you could take away a second. All right, so now that we see our little timeline, let's add an object. So I want to add a computer, since it's an online learning conference. So I'm going to type in computer in that search bar, and I'm just going to grab the first one that came up here, and just click on it, and it adds it into your canvas. I want to move it out of the way, obviously, so I'm going to just click on it and drag it into the upper right-hand corner. And now I've got a little picture to go along with it. But you could see in my timeline, it came in at the 5-second mark, right? So that's too long. That's too late. I want that to fly in when my subtitle flies in. So I'm going to click on my computer. And you see how it's got this little bar here underneath the marker? That little blue bar, I can click and drag to put it exactly where I want it to fly in. So now that computer should fly in at the same time as that subtitle. And we can preview it with our little button. So they came in together. All right, so now let's move on to the next slide. We'll just do one more slide. So I'm going to customize the text here. And hope I don't type something weird. Okay, Powtoon. All right, so now I've got some text in here, and I want to add a character to this one. So I'm going to X out of my computer search, right, because I don't just want computer characters, I want all characters. And I'm going to click on the character button in the right-hand side there. So you can see this is the collection that comes with the free version, The Office and Pleasant Style. These guys are free. We have access also here at Rutgers to the business version, and then you'll see Pro. Here's the Pro characters. And there's much more. Once you get into searching, you'll find that there's lots more in here, not just these few groups. But I'm going to add someone from the Explainer theme. And you can see if you hover over the character, you see all the different motions that they have available. So she can be typing, thinking, angry, sad. She can have an idea. So I'm going to have her wave hello, since it's the very beginning of our video. So I click on her hello pose, and there she is in our presentation. So I'm going to click and drag her to the corner so she's not blocking anything. And I'm going to go down to my timeline, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag it so she comes in with everything else at the 1-second mark. And I'm going to preview. All right, now she's waving a couple times. Seems a little weird. Let's have her just wave one time. So if you click on your character, you see these little tennis balls that look like they're moving. If you click on that, that controls your animation settings. So if I click on that, I can tell it I just want it to wave one time. You can also have something loop or have no animation. It'll just stand there. OK, so I've adjusted it to just one time. And now if we play it, she should wave one time and just stand there. Perfect. All right. So now I want to watch everything that I've created so far and show you that there's a little transition in here. I don't know if you caught it. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to let it roll into the second slide, and I'll show you. You could see the transition. OK, so see that transition that happened? So we can change that by clicking on these little things that appear between the slides. So if you click on that, it'll open up a bunch of different options. So I can have it fade. I can zoom in and zoom out. There's some that are really funky. So you want to use those sparingly, like this guy that comes with like a hand roller and paints over your presentation. So I'm going to make it something a little more subtle. I'm just going to have it zoom out. So now we're going to play it. I'm going to let it go into the next slide, and we should zoom out. There it goes. All right. So it worked. Any questions on any of this stuff so far? No? No? Music. Yes, that's where we're going next. I planted her in the audience. All right, so music. On the right-hand column, you have this little option for sound. So if you click on sound, I'm going to scroll back up. Yeah, it's all the way on the bottom on the right-hand side. OK, so now we can adjust this soundtrack by clicking on the music notes. You can put your own music. Yes, yep, you can, yep. You can upload your own. Yeah, you can import your own music file. Yep. All right, so then you could see there's like a ton. I'm just scrolling down. There's a bajillion of these things. And then you can filter. So I'm going to say I just want something that's happy. And now these are all the different options. So you can click on these little play buttons to preview it. No. So that sounds very intense.
Keep it.
Let's use it. All right. This is an intense topic. All right. So then if that's the one that you want and you like it, it sounds good, you would just click the add button in the right-hand column there. It'll ask you, are you sure? Tell it yes. And then you have to come down and hit save or apply here. All right. Actually, which reminds me, I'm going to hit my save button here so we don't lose anything. All right, so now let's preview it and hear how it sounds.
Change the music for slide 1, slide 2.
No. So it's one that's going to loop throughout the entire thing. Yeah, yep.
It had your voice, your demo.
Yes. So now if you want to record a voiceover track, you can do that in here as well. So I recommend using the voiceover per slide. You could do a voiceover track for the entire thing if you want. But if you need to make changes, then you have to re-record that whole thing. So you're better off using the voiceover per slide. So you click on that option on the right-hand side there, and you would just hit record. And it's probably not going to work for me here. I don't have a mic set up here. But you would just click on the start recording button, and it would record the length of time. It'll keep recording until infinity, but once you hit stop, it'll tell you it's going to shrink it down to the length of your slide, and it'll crop it automatically for you. So that's how you would add a voiceover to it. Now, once you like how everything looks, and you want to export, you would just click this button here. And now you're going to need to spend a lot of time working on this. It's very unlikely that you're going to finish this all in one setting. So I'm going to show you how to get back in there to edit it. But I'll show you that when you click export, it's just going to tell you that it's being exported to your Kaltura media space, and it'll be available there. It takes about an hour for it to show up in there. So if you come in and make a little change and then export, it's not going to be available right away. So don't panic, it's coming. It just takes some time to make it through the internet to your Kaltura.
What type of file is it?
So you could download it as an MP4.
But right now saved as what?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is. It's some sort of like web-based platform that it's living on. Yeah, Powtoon file of some sort.
Is there like a user community for Powtoons, or like people who have...
There are, yeah. So Powtoon.com has some great discussion boards. You can visit their site and see samples of what other people have created and pull inspiration from there. Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to get back in if you need to edit. Okay, so we're going to go back to your Kaltura page under that My Media. So I click My Media, and you can see I have other Powtoons that are in here too, and my screencasts. But your Powtoon is living in here. It has no thumbnail because it hasn't been exported yet. But when you need to edit it, you just click on the Edit button and edit Powtoon movie, and it'll jump you right back into where you left off, back into Powtoon.
Is that because you already exported it?
No, until you do export, it'll always look like that Powtoon icon. Yeah, and then once you do export, it'll have your.
Still in your media space.
Yeah, it is in the media space. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Can you label it?
You can, yes. So this is another interesting thing about Kaltura. I don't know why. You can change the label, but it doesn't happen immediately. So let's see. I'll go back to My Media. So if I click on Edit, and here I would call it Conference Powtoon, and then just save it.
In Kaltura, you private, or you can share it with the reference community?
Yep.
So that they can reuse it?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll show you. I'll show you one that I already finished.
What does launch editor mean as opposed to the edit opportunity for that?
Launch editor is where you can clip your video. Yeah. So it's just like in a snipping tool. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So if I go down to, let's see, this Grow NJ Kids one. No, wait. That's a copy. That was not going to work. Here we go. Powtoon. We'll do this one. So you can see that one was set to private. Where is it? Hang on. My media. Edit. Okay, so when you go into the edit, you can see that option for downloads. And then you'll need to tell it you want to be able to download it as like a small file, a large file, the original file size, and then just hit save. And then when you go to the media, it's not showing up here. I don't know if it's because I'm logged in differently. But normally beneath all this, you have your option to download and publish your file. So I don't know if I'm just logged in.
For closed caption, is it done automatically?
It will be. That's what they were talking about this morning. I think the TLT people might know better that Kaltura will eventually automatically close caption for us.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's coming, which I can't
Still
wait. That's going to be
happens.
awesome.
I mean, of course, it's doing it electronically, so
Yeah.
it's not 100%. You still need to watch your video to make sure that
The
the
edit.
words are correct.
Yeah.
It should be pretty good.
Yeah.
It'll also have the transcript, so I'm not sure how it'll be laid out exactly, but there will be transcript that sort of, I don't know if you're familiar with lynda.com, how it has a transcript and it follows.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of like, sing along.
Oh, that'll be great.
Sing along song, so it like has that as well.
Great.
In terms of
Awesome.
sense of closed captioning, there's also interactive.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Yes.
I'm going to steal your thunder, but
Yeah.
in case you're going to talk about it. But is it necessary to download your finished product if you're going to embed it in
No. No. So especially Canvas, you can embed your Kaltura media right there.
So
Yeah.
we would still go to mediaspace.kaltura.com to create it and save it.
Create it and save it.
Link to that.
And yeah, there's like a share button, and then click on the share and copy that link or embed it that way.
Embed that in.
Yep. Yeah, very easy to embed right into Canvas. Yeah.
So if you're creating a minute video, how long would it take to actually create it?
So it takes me about 3 hours per hour once I already have the script created. So like for a 5-minute video, about 15 hours. So yeah.
15 hours?
Yeah. Over a multiple of days. Yeah.
3 hours?
3 hours per minute. Yeah. Yeah. So because you're playing with every little movement that happens and adjusting the colors and the text sizes and the fonts, and so there's a lot that goes into it, which is why you want to make it, more generic to reuse it. Yeah.
So I don't know if you mentioned, but this is available also for students as well.
Yes.
So students, everyone at Rutgers, sorry for those who are not Rutgers people, but if you're a student at Rutgers, you also can request an account here as well.
Yeah.
I'm an instructional designer, and I'm working with one of my faculty in terms of creating a group project over several weeks. And the students are working together to build out a script to all these things that you talked
Yeah.
about as a group project. Instead of doing a typical group presentation with PowerPoint, we have them using Powtoon, and I supplied, all the instructions on how to do so. But
Yeah.
just so you know, it can also be used from a student perspective as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great idea. And even if they have different people create different parts and then kind of merge it all together.
Yeah, I mean, the students can't all access someone else's account.
Right.
So what we set it up, the project, in a way that each of the students have different roles. One is in charge of writing the script, one's in charge of just being the they all have different roles, like president, creative director, in this little organization, and then they all have different roles in how they contribute to the project.
Yeah.
But there's just one creative person, and we give them the option to use the templates or from scratch, but like you said, the from scratch is, it could, I mean,
It's intimidating.
How creative you are
Yeah.
and how much you want to put into this, but
Yeah.
the templates are the best way.
Yeah, and that's it kind of ties in with what the speaker was saying in the lunchtime keynote address about how a student who may not be interested in this topic comes alive though when they have the chance to be creative and play with something, you know, to explain their presentation. So, all right, and actually there's another handout which ties in with what you were just saying. That's the change request form. So that's a form that's used for once you've already designed the Powtoon now and your script is done, the Powtoon is done, and you need to test it. So let lots of people look at it, give them your feedback. What do you want to see different? What issues are you encountering? I had one Powtoon I made, and I didn't realize it. I wanted it to look like somebody was just talking, and we were just sort of, you know, like a fly on the wall watching them teach a class. But people kept commenting, the voice isn't syncing up with the audio. So they thought it was supposed to. So then, to me, that meant, okay, I need to go back and redesign this thing then to make it clear that I'm not making a mistake here. So that kind of form would be really useful, especially for students to provide feedback to each other as they collaborate on it. So there's, yeah, sure.
Sorry. Let's say two of us are working on the slides.
Yeah.
And we want to merge ours. How do I do that?
Yeah, so you're going to need an external tool to do something like that.
Okay. Nothing
Yeah.
like edit and copy, paste, or
No,
okay.
no, unfortunately. Not yet. It's 2018 though, maybe that's coming. So I want to give you some like tips, some secrets to looking like a professional at using this tool. So as I mentioned for your voiceover, you want to do it by slide so you can easily swap it out. And the university has some awesome tools and resources available here. They have a recording studio on the Livingston campus that you can just make an appointment and go in and use this padded room with this fancy microphone and do your recording there. And then another tip is to balance the soundtrack volume with your voiceover volume. So you're going to want to make, very likely, your soundtrack very soft and your spoken voice much louder. So just play with those settings a little bit. And then some other tips, I have recorded in a clothing closet so that it helps muffle some of the echo. Sometimes I pile up pillows around me and put a blanket over my head when I record because it reduces that echo. So just kind of got to get creative and test the sound. If you don't like how it sounds, try something else. Move into a different room, re-record. Okay, so I have a few samples. Just quick samples to show you for these tips. So playing with scale. So you saw when I clicked on the object, it automatically came into my presentation at one size. You don't have to stay at that size. Feel free to blow it up really big or shrink it down really small because it'll open up more that you can do with Powtoon. So in this one, the tablet comes on the screen as a small tablet that a character's holding, but I blew it up and made it really big so I could put a report on top of the tablet. So in this case, I'm making it much larger than Powtoon originally inserted it as.
So you can put your own images into the library.
Yep, yep. And this guy, I shrunk him down and made him really tiny. This is actually a background in one of the templates. I shrunk him down so it looks like he's standing on the stage speaking. So here's an example of shrinking something down really tiny. And in this one, I blew the character up so that, because what's important here is what she's holding in her hands. So I made her much larger so you could see the report that we're talking about.
And did you embed that picture?
Yes.
As well?
Yep, so that's an image that I just uploaded. And here's some characters. I just played with their heights and made some taller, some shorter. So they all kind of look like they fit together. Another thing you could do is play with your layers. So you can right-click on an object or a character and either send them backwards or bring them forwards. So that's going to be important, especially when you're done with the presentation and you say, oh, I could put a little potted plant in the corner or a frame on, picture frame on the wall. So you'll need this as you work on those kinds of things. So I'm going to show you a few examples of how we did that. So in this one, these kids are making this perfect face, but they're typing. And I don't want them typing. So I put a table in front of them and sent them to back. And now it looks like they're just looking at this wonderful globe. And yeah. So in this one, I have things happening in the background and the foreground. So I've got cars in the front, cars in the back. A bus is going to drop these people off. So I sent things to back and brought things to front in order to do that. And then in this one, I have lots of different characters. I have some in the background, some in the foreground. So again, playing with layers can accomplish this. This is actually a circle. They don't have rugs in Powtoon, but I used a circle, and then I sent it back behind my wall, so it looks like a rug. So there's so many things that you can play with in here just to get creative. Now this one, I'm going to show you. I was looking for shrubs, but they didn't have like nice bushy little shrubs. So I used broccoli because the tops of the broccoli were like these nice, bright, bushy green things. So you'll see the broccoli. And then there's rolling hills, but they didn't have any hills. They only had mountains. So I used a treetop that looked like hills. So it happens pretty quick, so that's why I want to explain it first. So here's our broccoli. And that's the treetop over there. Now this one, this is not a steaming cup of coffee. That's a coffee cup, but she has a steaming pie back there. Because they had a pie with steam coming off, so I just used that for the steam. So, so again, just getting creative, and in that one I had to play with the layers and send it to back.
Is there a way to get like your face on top of, so say if you're a professor and you want to do an intro video of something like this, could you actually impose your face on top of a character?
I guess you could, yeah, you could.
It's a template, like the graduate, like there's a graduation.
Oh.
Once you put the graduating person's face.
So it's got a spot for the image.
Yes, so it's that specific template.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear that? It's in the graduation template.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. All right, so as I mentioned, I have the conference website. So I'll just show you really quickly. I'm going to click on it. So it goes along with everything that we talked about here. If you click on Access the Resources, the print resources are here to download, the scripting tool and that change request form. Feel free to download that, customize it, put your own logo on it. And then there's a tutorial on how to access the Rutgers Powtoon. And then I have a couple of sample videos in there that you can watch as well. And then some links to Movely is another animated platform, and Go Animate, another option. So feel free to look at those. Like I said, if you can navigate one, you can navigate all of them. So.